Have you ever caught yourself talking to your dog, like their family, telling them about your day, whispering secrets, or asking if they're hungry again, even though dinner just ended? And then they tilt their head, ears perked, eyes locked on you, as if they understand more than you expect. In that instant, you wonder, what do they really think when they hear my voice? Science has something fascinating to say, and what you're about to learn may forever change the way you speak to your dog. Because for them, your voice isn't just sound, it's rhythm, energy, and emotion that paints the atmosphere of their world. So, let's begin with the very first question. When you speak, what does your dog truly hear? When you speak to your dog, they don't hear words the way we do. They don't sit there breaking down syllables or remembering vocabulary. What they hear is something far deeper: your tone, your rhythm, the rise and fall of your breath. Imagine standing by a river watching the ripples glide past. That's your voice to your dog. Not language, but a current of feeling flowing straight into their world. And here's the fascinating part. In a study published in Science in 2016, researchers found that dogs process human speech in a surprisingly similar way to us. They use the left side of their brain for words and the right side for intonation. But unlike us, they lean heavily on the music of your voice, the warmth, the stress, the joy, or the tension hidden inside every phrase. That means when you whisper, "good boy," in a gentle tone, their brain lights up with reward. But say the very same words flatly, and the meaning disappears. Number 2. Why dogs recognize certain words. It almost feels like magic, doesn't it? You call your dog's name across the room, and their ears perk up instantly. You say walk or treat, and suddenly their whole body shifts with excitement. But how is that possible if, as we just learned, dogs don't truly understand language? The truth is, they're not memorizing words the way we do. What they're doing is something scientists call associative learning. In a famous study from the University of Leipzig, a border collie named Rico was able to recognize over 200 words, not because he spoke our language, but because he had linked specific sounds to specific experiences. Rico ball meant joy, play, movement. Rico sit meant calmness, focus, reward. Your dog is doing the exact same thing every single day. But here's the part that matters most. When your dog learns a word from you, it's not just a command, it's a piece of shared history. Every time you repeat that sound with love, you're writing it into their memory, stitching it together with the rhythm of your footsteps, the smell of your clothes, even the time of day it usually happens. To them, your words are more like photographs, snapshots of moments you've created together. And that's why a simple word like home or buddy can feel so powerful. It's not just the sound. It's the hundreds of times that sound has carried comfort, safety, or joy. For your dog, those words become part of their emotional map, guiding them back to you even in moments of uncertainty. But if words are only fragments of a bigger picture, then what truly speaks the loudest? What is the real language your dog listens to above all else? The answer isn't in your vocabulary. It's in something far more ancient, something they've carried from the wild into your living room. And that's where we go next. To your dog, your voice is weather. A calm, soft breeze means safety. A sudden storm of anger, even if it isn't aimed at them, sends their heart racing. That's why many dogs leave the room when voices are raised, not because they understand the argument, but because they feel the thunder in the air. And once they've learned your weather, they remember it. Dogs like us carry long-term emotional memories. They store the feeling of your tone, the comfort of your laughter, the rhythm of the way you call their name. Over time, those patterns become anchors. Your voice isn't just sound anymore. It's home. But if that's true, if dogs don't truly care about the words, then why do some seem to know their names or commands, like sit and stay? The answer lies in a secret far more beautiful than obedience. And that's what we're about to uncover. Number 3. The real language of dogs. If words are only fragments, then what truly matters to your dog? The answer is older than language itself. Long before dogs slept on our couches, their ancestors lived in packs where survival depended not on words, but on signals, tone, posture, rhythm, and energy. That is the language your dog still carries inside them today. When you speak, your dog doesn't just listen with their ears. They read your entire being. A change in your tone, a sigh in the middle of a sentence, even the way your shoulders rise when you're tense, it all becomes a message. In fact, researchers at Eötvös-Loránd University in Hungary used brain imaging to show that dogs' auditory cortex lights up not just for sounds, but for emotional intonation. Simply put, they feel your mood in your voice before they even decode the sound itself. Think about that. Your dog doesn't just hear you say, "It's okay." They hear the tremble in your breath, they feel whether your body is relaxed or heavy. They sense if your tone carries calmness or worry. To them, your voice is not just communication, it's climate. A steady, warm breeze means safety. A sudden storm, even if it isn't aimed at them, can send them into hiding. And here is where the connection becomes truly intimate. Over time, your dog builds an emotional map of you. They memorize the way you open a door, the rhythm of your steps in the hallway, the softness or sharpness in your tone when you arrive home. To them, these patterns are not small details. They are the architecture of their world. But if your dog is mapping you so carefully, then what happens when you break the pattern? What do they feel when your voice shifts in ways they don't expect? That answer reveals something extraordinary, something that explains why dogs are often the first to notice when something is wrong with you, even before you admit it yourself. Number 4. When dogs sense. What we cannot say. There are moments when your dog knows before you do. You may think you've hidden the stress of a long day or tried to keep quiet about the sadness you carry, but your dog has already noticed. They see it in the way your shoulders slump, hear it in the way your tone drops half a note lower, smell it in the subtle shifts of your body chemistry. Science confirms what so many dog owners have felt. In 2022, researchers at Queen's University Belfast discovered that dogs can detect human stress simply through smell. Cortisol, the hormone released when we're anxious, actually changes the scent of our breath and sweat. Dogs in the study correctly identified stress samples with astonishing accuracy, proof that they don't just sense our moods, they quite literally smell our emotions. But beyond the science, there's the lived truth. Ask anyone who has sat in silence with a dog after a loss, or cried quietly while their dog rested a head on their knee. These animals aren't trained therapists. They're companions who step into the space between your words, filling it with presence. They don't ask what's wrong. They don't try to fix it. They just stay. And in that stillness, something shifts. You feel less alone, because someone has noticed what even you tried to hide. And here's the remarkable part. The more history you share with your dog, the more precise their attunement becomes. They remember your ordinary rhythm, so when you break it, they know instantly. A sigh, where there should have been a smile. Silence, where there should have been a laugh. Your dog marks those changes like storm clouds on the horizon. But what happens when their quiet loyalty moves beyond sensing emotions, when it becomes action, when they start to answer you in ways too subtle for words? That's where the bond between human and dog takes on a dimension most people never realize until it happens to them. Number 5. When dogs answer without words. It may surprise you, But your dog has been answering you all along. You just may not have noticed. Their language is subtle, ancient, woven into gestures that carry more weight than any word ever could. A gentle head pressed against your leg, a paw resting quietly on your arm, a long gaze followed by a slow blink. These are not random acts. They are replies. Science has begun to unravel this mystery. In 2015, a study published in Science showed that dogs and humans share an oxytocin feedback loop, the very same hormone cycle that bonds mothers to their infants. When a dog gazes into your eyes, oxytocin levels rise in both of you. That means your dog's quiet stare isn't just affection, it is a biochemical conversation, a physiological "I love you" that echoes inside your body as well as theirs. But beyond the numbers, there is something profoundly human in the way dogs choose their moments. They don't answer with chatter. They answer with presence. A lean against your side when you're overwhelmed. A playful nudge when your laughter is missing. A silent curl at your feet on the night you couldn't sleep. Each act is a sentence in a language that doesn't need sound to be heard. And this is where the relationship deepens. Because once you realize your dog is not just receiving your emotions, but reflecting them back, you begin to understand you are not the only one speaking in this bond. Your dog has been carrying half the dialogue all along. But here's the question few people ever stop to ask if dogs can answer us so faithfully without words. What else have they been trying to say? What silent truths live inside those gestures we take for granted? The next part may change the way you look at every tilt of their head, every brush of fur against your skin. Number 6. The silent messages of the body. If you really want to know what your dog is telling you, you need to look where no words exist, into the silence of their body. Dogs are masters of physical language. A slow blink, a sigh that escapes while they rest near you, the way their body presses just close enough to touch yours without asking for more. Each of these is a message spoken in the quietest of tones. Science supports what dog lovers have always felt. A 2018 study in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior showed that subtle body cues like ear position, tail movement, and even breathing patterns are primary ways dogs communicate emotional states to humans. To an untrained eye, it may look like nothing. But to your dog, these tiny shifts are their vocabulary, a silent dictionary they use to keep you close. Think of the times your dog has stretched out beside you, exhaling deeply, only once you've sat down. That's not coincidence, that's relief. Or the nights they curl tightly against your ribs, syncing their breathing to yours. That's not instinct alone. That's alignment. It's their way of telling you, I feel what you feel, and I'm here to hold it with you. And here is the breathtaking truth. Dogs have learned to weave their emotions into the smallest details of daily life details we often overlook. A paw shifted closer during your silence. A head tilt when your voice breaks. A tail wag not of excitement, but of reassurance. Every one of these is an answer in the dialogue they've been having with you all along. But here's the question that lingers. If their body can speak such a rich language, then what happens when you finally learn to listen? What new depth of love and understanding waits on the other side of that silence? That's the door we're about to open. Number 7. When you learn to listen. Something extraordinary happens when you stop talking at your dog and begin listening to them. The bond shifts. What was once one-sided becomes a duet, a rhythm you both share without effort. Suddenly, you don't just see their wagging tail, you notice the tempo of it. You don't just hear their sigh, you feel the weight it carries. In that moment, you realize you've stepped into their world. Science has a word for this attunement. In psychology, Attunement means the ability to sense and respond to another's emotional state in real time. A 2020 study in animal cognition found that dogs not only read human emotions, but that humans who actively respond to canine cues build stronger, more secure attachments with their pets. It's not a theory, it's measurable. The more you listen, the deeper the trust becomes. And here's the miracle. When you start to mirror their subtle cues, slowing your breath when they settle beside you, softening your voice when they lean into your hand, you're not just comforting them. You're speaking their language back. For your dog, that recognition is everything. It tells them you see me, you feel me, you understand me. This is where love between human and dog moves beyond companionship. It becomes resonance, like two instruments vibrating to the same note. You don't need words. You don't need commands. You only need presence. And in that quiet, something grows that science can measure, but never fully explain, a bond that heals both hearts. But if listening back creates such profound connection, then the question becomes, how far can this silent dialogue go? Can dogs carry our memories, our moods, even our unspoken fears within them? The next chapter takes us closer to that mystery. Number 8. The emotional memory. Dogs do not keep diaries, and they don't replay memories the way we do. But they do something even more powerful. They store feelings. Every moment with you, your laughter echoing through the kitchen, the rhythm of your footsteps at the door, the softness of your voice when you whisper their name becomes etched into what scientists call associative long-term memory. A 2016 study in Current Biology showed that dogs have a memory system similar to ours called episodic-like memory. That means they don't just recall routines, they can remember specific experiences and the emotions tied to them. For your dog, it isn't only what happened, it's how it felt when it happened with you. That's why a single phrase, or even the jingling of your keys, can spark a flood of recognition, pulling them back into a moment they once lived by your side. And this is why your dog runs to greet you, not because of the word hello, but because of the thousands of times your return has meant safety, warmth, belonging. Your presence is their landmark. Your voice is their compass. To them, memory is not about the past. It's a living map of comfort that always leads back to you. But here's where it becomes even more profound. Because if your dog carries your voice, your habits, and your moods inside their memory, then they also carry your absences, your silences, your changes. They remember when the house felt heavy, when your tone was strained, when you lingered too long in sadness. And they don't forget. They fold those pieces into their emotional world, quietly adjusting to hold space for you. And this raises a haunting question. If dogs carry our emotional imprint so deeply, could it be that they are not just remembering us, but carrying part of who we are within them? The answer may change the way you look at your dog's loyalty forever. Number 9. The loyalty that outlives time. When people speak of dogs, they often say one word above all others: loyalty. But loyalty is too small a word for what truly happens. Because what your dog offers isn't blind devotion, it's memory woven with emotion, carried forward day after day, year after year. Science helps us understand why this bond feels so eternal. In 2019, researchers at Kyoto University discovered that dogs not only remember interactions, but they also evaluate fairness and trust. They remember who treated them with kindness, who honored their presence, and who didn't. Their loyalty is not automatic. It is chosen, reinforced with every shared heartbeat, every quiet evening together, every whispered word they hold inside them like a secret. And that's why stories of dogs waiting at train stations or refusing to leave the bed of a sick owner are not myths, they are echoes of something deeply real. Your dog is not simply staying because they must. They are staying because your presence has become the architecture of their world, and to abandon it would be like tearing the ground out from beneath their paws. But here is where it becomes almost mystical. Dogs seem to carry our essence beyond the moment. Ask anyone who has lost a beloved pet, and they'll tell you how the house feels different, quieter, as though a part of themselves has gone with the dog. That's not imagination. It's the proof of how completely these animals mirror us, hold us, and in some ineffable way keep a part of us alive in them. And it leads us to one final breathtaking question. If dogs can hold our love, our moods, even our silences so faithfully, then are they not only companions in life, but keepers of our story long after we're gone. Number 10. Dogs as guardians of our legacy. There is something haunting and beautiful about the way dogs seem to carry us within them. They don't just walk beside us in life, they hold pieces of our story, fragments of our emotions, echoes of our laughter and our grief. In a way, they become living archives of who we are when no one else is watching. Science gives us a glimpse into why this feels so true. A 2021 study in Scientific Reports found that dogs can recall emotional events tied to their owners even after long periods of time, responding more strongly to voices and faces connected with past experiences. What this means is simple yet profound. Your dog is not only recognizing you in the present, but also carrying the emotional residue of every moment you've shared. Think of it when your dog waits faithfully by the door. It isn't just today they're waiting for. It's the memory of yesterday's return, the hundreds of evenings when your footsteps meant safety and warmth. When they curl up in your empty chair after you've left the room, it isn't habit, it's remembrance. They are holding the space you once filled, as though keeping it alive until you return. And this is why, for so many people, the loss of a dog feels like losing a witness. Because they weren't just pets. They were keepers of your secrets, your routines, your quiet joys and unspoken sorrows. They were the only ones who knew the rhythm of your days as intimately as you did. But here is the question that lingers long after. If dogs can hold our legacy with such purity, what do we hold for them in return? How do we honor the depth of their silent devotion once we finally understand the weight of what they've been carrying for us all along? So how do we honor a devotion that has no words, no conditions, no end? We honor it by noticing, by listening when they speak in silence, by answering their quiet loyalty with gentleness, patience, and love. Every slow blink, every sigh at your feet, every moment they wait by the door is not just habit. It is their way of saying, "You are my world." And perhaps the greatest gift we can give back is presence. To look into their eyes and let them know we see them, we feel them, we remember too. Because at the end of the day, your dog doesn't need perfect words or endless praise. They need you, your tone, your warmth, your hand, resting softly against theirs. That is the legacy you leave inside them. If this touched your heart, take a moment to share your story in the comments. Tell us about the time your dog spoke to you without a word, because your memory may help someone else see what they've been missing all along. And if you want to keep exploring the hidden language between humans and dogs, don't forget to subscribe. Not for me, not for this channel, but for the bond you share with your dog. A bond worth celebrating, protecting, and deepening every single day. Have you ever looked at your dog, wagging their tail, eyes soft and loyal, and wondered, do they really know how deeply you love them? Most people think dogs just know. We say, "I love you," every morning, every bedtime. We slip them a treat under the table. We pat their heads and call it love. But science tells a different story. For dogs, love isn't words. It's not the treats we sneak them when nobody's looking. It's not just the warm bed we give them at night. For dogs, love is a feeling. It's a choice we make every day, in tiny moments that speak their language better than any good boy ever could. One of our viewers said it best: love isn't a feeling, it's an action and a choice. That couldn't be truer when it comes to the four-legged souls who trust us more than anyone in the world. In the next few minutes, I want to show you exactly what science says about how dogs really feel our love, and the simple things you can start doing today that will reach your dog's heart in a way words alone never will. Some might surprise you. All of them are proven, practical, and ready for you to try. So, if you want your dog to feel just as loved as you feel when they look up at you, stick around. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what comes next. Let's count down together. 12 simple ways to tell your dog you love them, the way they truly understand. Let's start with something so simple yet so powerful. Looking into your dog's eyes, not in a stiff stare or a challenge, but in a soft, warm gaze that says, "I'm here and you're safe." Back in 2015, researchers at Azabu University in Japan found something beautiful. When dogs and their owners held gentle eye contact for about 30 minutes, just off and on, not forced, the dog's oxytocin levels rose by about 130%. Even more amazing, the human's oxytocin levels jumped nearly 300%. That's the same bonding hormone mothers share with newborn babies. What does that mean for you and your best friend? A few quiet seconds of eye contact, maybe when you're sitting together on the porch after dinner, tells your dog in their own language, "I trust you. I belong with you." It works best when they're calm, after a walk, or when they curl up beside you. Never force it. A hard stare can confuse or worry them. But when you soften your gaze and maybe whisper their name, they feel it deep down. They're loved. And maybe, in that little moment, you'll feel it too, stronger than ever. So hold that look, share that calm, because a loving gaze is just the start. Next comes the gentle touch that tells your dog they're safe right under your hands. A warm look is powerful, but sometimes your dog needs to feel that love right under your hands. Gentle petting is more than just a scratch behind the ears. It's a language of trust that goes skin deep. Back in 2003, researchers found that even 5 to 20 minutes of calm petting can boost oxytocin in both you and your dog, lowering stress for everyone. But not all petting feels the same to them. Slow strokes behind the ears, gentle rubs on the chest, or a soft scratch at the base of the tail. These are the sweet spots where dogs feel safest. Rough pats or sudden hands on top of the head can make some dogs flinch or pull away. So watch how your dog responds. If they lean in, sigh, or close their eyes, you're speaking the right language. If they shift, lick their lips, or stiffen, it's time to pause and readjust. Petting done right says, "You're safe. I'm here. This moment is ours." Slow down, breathe, and let your dog lean in at their own pace. Because while your hands speak safety, the warmth in your voice tells their heart they're loved every single time you speak. If your hands show your dog they're safe, your voice reminds them they're loved every single day. The tone you use when you speak can mean the world to them, sometimes even more than the words themselves. A study out of the University of York back in 2018 found that dogs pay closer attention when we speak to them in a higher-pitched, warm, emotional voice, almost like how we talk to babies. It's not silly baby talk. It's how your dog knows you're happy, calm, and focused just on them. When you say, "Who's a good boy?" in that soft, cheerful tone, Your dog picks up on every bit of warmth in your voice. Their tail wags harder, their ears perk up, and they lean in because they feel the safety behind your words. Flat or harsh tones can confuse them or make them unsure of your mood. So, speak with love. Say their name with a smile behind it. Let them hear that you're here and there's nowhere else you'd rather be. Because while your voice makes them feel loved, you can show it even more by keeping their mind busy and their heart content. Love isn't only about touch or voice. It's about keeping your dog's mind alive and curious. Just like people, dogs get bored. And when they're bored, they can grow anxious or find their own ways to stay busy, chewing shoes, barking too much, or pacing the yard. Back in 2001, Dr. Karen Overall found that dogs given mental challenges every day were calmer, happier, and much less likely to act out. It doesn't have to be complicated. A snuffle mat on the kitchen floor, a treat ball that makes them think, or even a simple muffin tin game with tennis balls hiding tiny snacks. It all lights up your dog's natural instincts to sniff, paw, and solve problems. A recent Duke University study in 2024 showed that just 5 minutes of a simple find the treat game can double the eye contact young dogs make with their owners. That means more connection, more trust. So let them sniff out those hidden treasures. Let them win with their nose and paws. Because a busy mind is a happy mind, and a happy mind builds a calm, loving heart. And once you've helped them stretch their brain, it's time to stretch their senses even more. One step at a time, out in the fresh air. For a dog, the world is painted in scent. Every tree, every patch of grass, every lamppost holds a story they can read. With their nose. When we rush our dogs through a walk, tugging them along and telling them to hurry up, we're cutting them off from one of life's greatest pleasures. Research from Barnard College back in 2016 found that sniffing actually lowers a dog's heart rate and helps them feel calmer and more confident in their surroundings. Some trainers even call it smeller size, a simple way for dogs to decompress and shake off the stress of a busy day. So instead of a power walk, try a sniff walk. Let your dog wander a little, nose down, tail wagging. Let them pause at that same old tree for 30 seconds longer than you think makes sense. That patience tells them you respect how they see the world, and they love you for it. When you give them this small freedom, you're saying, I see you. I trust you. But even with all this freedom, it's just as important to read what they're telling you in return. That's where the real listening comes in. Love isn't just about what you give, it's about what you hear, too. And dogs don't speak with words. They speak with every flick of a tail, every turned head, every quiet yawn when they're not tired. Researchers at the University of California have shown that learning to read a dog's subtle signals is one of the best ways to build real trust and prevent fear-based behavior. A dog that yawns when they're not sleepy, licks their lips, stiffens their shoulders, or slowly turns away is saying, I'm uncomfortable. I need space. So many owners miss these whispers. They push for hugs. They reach out when the dog is pulling back, or they hover when the dog wants a moment alone. But when you pause, notice, and step back, you're telling your dog, I see you, I hear you, I'll give you what you need. Dogs can even smell our stress through our sweat or breath. If you carry your day's worry into their space, they'll feel it too. So when you're with your dog, take a breath, relax your shoulders, let them show you how they feel. Then listen, because once you're listening, you'll know exactly when the time is right for a treat they truly earn. Food can say, I love you, in a way words never will, if you use it right. A special treat at the right moment tells your dog, "Good things happen when you're with me." But treats aren't bribes. They're tiny celebrations, a sweet reward that ties your presence to safety and trust. A 2017 study from Tel Aviv University showed that dogs trained with positive rewards, like food and praise, build stronger bonds and feel far less stress than dogs trained with punishment or harsh commands. But here's where many people slip up: giving too many treats, too often, for no reason at all. When that happens, your dog might stop caring about the praise and only care about your hand reaching for a snack. So choose treats that feel special. Little pieces of chicken, a bit of cheese, something they don't get every day. Use them during training or when you come home after being away. Let the treat mark the moment. You did well. I see you. I'm proud. And remember, love isn't just in the food. It's in the quiet moments too. Like when you drift off to sleep and your dog curls up close to feel safe beside you. Where your dog sleeps says so much about how safe they feel and how safe you help them feel. For many dogs, being close to you at night is the deepest comfort they know. It's the time of day when the world is quiet, when the pack curls up together, just as nature intended. A 2021 study in the Human-Animal Interaction Bulletin showed that dogs who sleep near their owners tend to have lower anxiety and stronger bonds. And the Mayo Clinic found that people who share a room with their dog sleep well too. Most folks still get about 80 to 83% sleep efficiency, even if there's an extra snore or a paw in the blankets. But sleeping near you doesn't have to mean sharing your bed if that's not for you. A comfy dog bed right beside yours, or even a crate in the same room, can give your dog that feeling of security they crave. When your dog curls up by your feet or settles by your side at night, they're saying, "This is where I belong." And when you let them stay close, you're answering back, "Yes, you do." And just as sleep brings trust, the way you teach them every day can build that same deep bond. Training isn't just about teaching a command. It's one of the purest ways to say, "I see you. I trust you." And the method you choose can either build that trust or break it down. A 2017 study from Tel Aviv University found that dogs trained with positive reinforcement, treats, praise, or a favorite toy, had lower stress, better behavior, and a much deeper bond with their humans. Harsh punishment, on the other hand, made dogs anxious and unsure, eroding the very trust we want to grow. Think of training as a conversation, not a lecture. Keep sessions short and happy. Celebrate the small wins. If your dog sits when you ask or waits by the door instead of jumping, reward them in a way that feels good to both of you. Some dogs light up for a tiny piece of chicken. Others would rather chase a ball than get a snack. Just like one viewer shared about their ball-loving pup. When training feels safe and rewarding, your dog doesn't just obey. They choose to listen because they trust your lead. And trust goes both ways. The more you match your dog's energy, the more they'll reflect your calm right back at you. Your dog is always watching you. Your face, your shoulders, the way you breathe when you walk through the door. They pick up on every small sign of your mood. When you're calm, they're calm. When you're tense, they feel it in their bones. A 2019 study from Linköping University found that dogs and owners often share stress levels. And just this year, a new study showed that if you carry stress from work or worries about tomorrow, your dog can sense it in your scent and your tone, sometimes before you even speak. So when you come home after a long day, pause for a moment at the door. Take a deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. Show your dog you're here now, present, safe, and glad to see them. Matching their energy doesn't mean you have to mirror every bounce or bark. It means you steady your own mind so they can lean into your calm. Dogs crave that stable leader they can trust. So next time you feel the day wearing on you, remember, your peace becomes their peace. And sometimes, giving them the freedom to be themselves makes that peace even stronger. Every dog has a job written in their bones. A border collie feels alive when they herd or guide. A retriever lights up when they carry something back to you. A terrier? Give them a hole to dig, and they're in heaven. A 2010 study from the University of Sydney showed that these breed instincts run deep, even if your backyard is a far cry from open farmland. When we ignore what our dogs were born to do, they can become bored or restless. But when we find simple ways to let them live out those instincts, they feel understood in a way that words can't match. It doesn't take a farm to make a herder happy. Hide treats under cups, or lay out a scent trail in your yard. Throw a ball for a retriever to catch and carry with pride. Build a sandbox for your terrier to dig to their heart's content. When you honor what they were born for, you're telling your dog, "I see who you are, and I love all of it." And when the day is done, there's only one thing left that seals it all: your full, quiet, undivided time. At the end of the day, the greatest gift you can give your dog isn't a treat or a toy. It's you, fully present. No phone in your hand, no TV buzzing in the background. Just you and them, breathing the same quiet air. A 2012 study from the University of Rostock showed that when people spend calm, one-on-one time with their dogs, both see a healthy rise in oxytocin, the same warm hormone that binds us to the ones we love most. It doesn't have to be complicated. Sit together on the porch. Lie on the rug while they nap beside you. Take a slow walk where you're not watching the clock, just watching them sniff the breeze. Dogs know when you're really there, and when your mind is somewhere else. So close the laptop. Silence the phone. For a few minutes, be the person your dog already believes you are. Because, in the end, all the science and tricks mean nothing if you don't show up with your heart wide open. And when you do, your dog will feel it. No words needed. 12 ways. 12 simple, science-backed reminders that love isn't something you just say. It's something you show in small, patient moments that add up to a lifetime of trust. Maybe today, you'll start with one. A soft gaze when the house is quiet. An extra minute at that old tree on your next walk. A puzzle toy that makes your dog pause, sniff, and smile. Or maybe you'll just sit beside them tonight, without a screen in sight, letting your heartbeat tell them everything they need to know. Love for a dog is never grand or fancy. It's your steady voice, your gentle hands, your calm presence. It's how you show up when they need you most, and how you choose, every day, to be their safe place in this busy world. So which one will you try first? Leave a comment below and tell us how your dog shows you that they feel it. And if you found even one idea here worth trying, hit that subscribe button. There's always more to learn about loving them well, and they deserve every bit of it. Have you ever wondered, how do I know if my dog truly loves me, or just really loves the food bowl I fill every day? Many people believe that giving their dogs delicious meals, fancy toys, or frequent belly rubs is enough to express love. But the truth is, there are simple, sometimes even strange, behaviors that, if you pay close attention, are actually your dog's most honest, "I love you." And here's something that might surprise you. Sign number 6 might be the clearest one of all, but it's also the one most people overlook, even those who've owned dogs for years. If you love dogs and don't want to miss more videos like this, hit that subscribe button now. So every time you come back, you and your pup will understand each other a little better. Have you ever wondered, how do I know if my dog truly loves me or just really loves the food bowl I fill every day? Many people believe that giving their dogs delicious meals, fancy toys, or frequent belly rubs is enough to express love. But the truth is, there are simple, sometimes even strange, behaviors that, if you pay close attention, are actually your dog's most honest, "I love you." And here's something that might surprise you. Sign number 6 might be the clearest one of all, but it's also the one most people overlook, even those who've owned dogs for years. If you love dogs and don't want to miss more videos like this, hit that subscribe button now, so every time you come back, you and your pup will understand each other a little better. A dog's love doesn't always look the way humans expect it to. They can't speak, but they have their own language, through their eyes, their tail, a gentle head tilt, or even sitting directly on your lap like you're their personal throne. And it's these small, subtle things that often reveal the real answer, whether you're truly the one they love the most. And sometimes, that sign is written right across their face. It's that moment you walk through the door after a long day, and your dog's eyes light up, and then one of their eyebrows raises just a bit higher than the other. It sounds tiny, easy to miss, but according to a study from Japan, when dogs see the person they love the most, they tend to move their left eyebrow more than usual, a unique emotional reaction they don't show when looking at their favorite toy. So, next time you come home, if you catch their left eyebrow lifting and their face subtly shifting in a special way, congratulations! You just might be the most important person in their world. Try noticing it. It's amazing how love can show up in something as small as a twitch of an eyebrow. But if that loving look still doesn't melt your heart, what happens next just might. Dogs can't smile the way humans do, but they have their own kind of smile. Some dogs give you a soft grin, some stick their tongue out to the side, and others, if they're truly comfortable, will gently roll onto their back, belly up, looking at you as if to whisper, "Please, give me a rub." It might seem like a simple gesture, but in the world of dogs, exposing their belly means total trust, so much that they're willing to let their guard down completely. Of course, be mindful. It's also possible that a dog rolls over because they're nervous or itchy. So if you see them breathing calmly, eyes soft, body relaxed, take it slow and gently rub their belly. Because that's not just a stomach. It's an invitation into the safest part of their world. And as you gently rub their belly, you might catch them looking at you, slowly, and holding that gaze a little longer than usual. Did you know that according to another study from Japan, when dogs gaze into the eyes of someone they love, their oxytocin levels can increase by up to 130%. This is the same bonding hormone that is released when a mother looks at her child. Just one look, and if you are someone special to them, they will hold that gaze as if they are memorizing every little expression on your face. So if your dog often tries to lock eyes with you, know that you are not just the one who feeds them or takes them for walks. You are their entire world reflected in those eyes. And if you are petting your dog and notice them leaning gently into you, do not assume it is just a random position. That lean, that soft weight against you, is your dog's way of saying, "I want to be closer to you." It is a sign of emotional connection, an unconscious behavior from a creature that feels safe and happy. And if they only do this with you and not with others, then congratulations, you are the favorite pillow of their heart. Try sitting on the floor and petting them. If they lean all the way into you instead of pulling away, that is a quiet kind of love. but a very real one. Some dogs do not enjoy being petted too much, but that does not mean they do not want to show affection in other ways. Sometimes they will sit right in your lap or plant their butt on your leg like they are saying, "This is my personal throne." It might sound a little funny, but this is how some dogs express a gentle kind of possessiveness, like a declaration that you belong to them. With larger dogs, it can feel a bit heavy, but the affection behind it is just as sweet. If you notice your dog constantly climbing onto you, sitting on your legs, or resting their head on your thigh, understand that they are trying to be as close to you as physically possible, as if shortening the physical distance will bring their heart even closer to yours. But closeness does not always have to mean sitting on top of you. One of the most heartwarming and practical signs of love is when your dog brings you a toy. It is not just an invitation to play. It is an act of sharing something they love most with the person they love most. And interestingly, if you have shown excitement for that toy in the past, they may have learned that bringing it closer to you will get your attention and interaction. Sometimes they might even turn away the moment you reach for it, turning it into a playful game of chase. But behind all that mischief lies a very sweet truth. They just want your attention, your time, and to share a little moment of closeness with you in their own uniquely doggy way. But if bringing you toys still is not enough to make your heart melt, there is something else. It is smaller, more subtle, and easy to miss if you are not paying attention. It is the way your dog tilts their head or gently leans their back against you while you are petting them. What seems like a mindless little movement is actually a deeply sincere emotional gesture, a creature quietly trying to get closer to someone they love. Dogs cannot say, "I love you" with words, but that lean is their own version of the phrase. And if they do it with you more than with anyone else, chances are you are already holding a very special place in that little furry heart. And sometimes you have barely left your seat, without even saying goodbye, when you hear a soft whine behind you, a nervous stance, and those wide, round eyes that seem to ask, "Where are you going?" A strong reaction when you leave is not just a sign of dependence, it is a sign of deep attachment. When a dog does not want to be apart from you, even if it is only for a few minutes, it shows that your presence is not just part of their routine, but a crucial piece of their emotional safety and happiness. Love does not always need to be grand. Sometimes, one lingering look as you walk away says it all. And when you are home, pay attention. In a house full of rooms and comfy corners, why does your dog always choose to lie exactly where you are sitting? Even if the tiled floor is cooler or the couch in the other room is softer, they still curl up in the same space you are in. That simple choice says so much. Their willingness to stay in the same room with you, even when nothing is happening, proves how peaceful your presence feels to them. You do not have to constantly entertain them. Sometimes, just being there is enough to make them happy. What is even more incredible is when your emotions begin to affect their mood. Dogs who are deeply bonded with their humans often respond visibly to their feelings. Have you ever been sad, and your dog quietly came over, laid their head on your leg, or simply sat beside you in silence? Or maybe when you were dancing around the room in joy, they joined in, wagging their tail and spinning in circles. These are not coincidences. Dogs can read and mirror your emotions, and this silent kind of love shows most clearly when your feelings become their frequency too. Another fascinating way dogs show love is by mimicking your actions. Some dogs do not just follow you around. They yawn when you yawn, stretch when you stretch, and even lie down when you do. This is known as mirroring behavior, and it indicates a high level of emotional alignment between you and your dog. Just like long-term couples tend to adopt each other's habits, your dog slowly syncs with you in both behavior and mood. No commands, no training, just love, making you more alike every single day. And then, there are dogs who do not display any grand gestures at all. They do not jump on you or run around with toys. But then, at the most unexpected moments, when you are watching a movie or lying on the couch, your dog quietly walks over, touches your hand with their cold little nose, and lies down beside you without saying a word. That gesture is small, but meaningful. It is like a gentle hello, a silent affirmation that says, "I'm here with you." Those nose touches are not just random. They are a quiet, steady form of connection, deep and sincere. Just like those quiet nose touches, some gestures might seem ordinary, but are actually powerful declarations of love. One of the sweetest is when your dog chooses to sit in your lap or place their whole body on your legs, as if those legs were their personal throne. Many people think dogs only like lying next to you, but sitting right on top of you is a way of claiming emotional space. It is their way of saying, "This person is mine." With small dogs, it is adorable. With big dogs, it might feel like being crushed. But either way, it is a privilege they reserve for someone truly special. And if you have ever walked through the door after hours away and been pounced on by your dog, claws scraping your clothes, ears flapping, tail wagging like crazy, do not rush to scold them. It may not be the most polite behavior, but in that moment, they are simply overwhelmed with joy. They forget every bit of training, toss all rules out the window, just because they missed you so much. If you have ever clutched your chest after one of those enthusiastic leaps, think about this. When was the last time someone was that excited just to see you again? Some dogs go even further and express their feelings in ways that are, well, a little awkward, like trying to mount during playtime. Do not panic, and do not assume they have some strange intentions. This is not sexual behavior. It is a reaction to extreme excitement and affection, and they just do not know how else to channel that energy. It might look funny or embarrassing, especially if guests are around, but it is really just a sign that they feel safe and unfiltered around you. No need to encourage it or scold them harshly. Sometimes, a gentle look of understanding is all they need. For dogs with a protective nature, love is expressed through watchfulness. If a stranger enters your home, they move forward. If someone gets too close while you sleep, they sit up and observe. Even something as simple as hugging someone unfamiliar might make your dog squeeze between you, silently saying, "Nope, this person is mine." These protective actions do not have to be loud or aggressive. Sometimes it is just them lying in the doorway, sitting outside your room, or following behind you whenever you leave the house. However they show it, the fact that your dog feels the need to guard you is one of the clearest signs that you are truly important in their world. And sometimes, love shows up not through action, but through words, or rather, the way dogs respond to them. Some dogs know the exact name of the person they love most. When someone says, "Where's Dad?" or "Where's Mom?" their ears perk up, eyes scan the room, tail starts wagging. To them, your name is not just a sound. It is a collection of everything they associate with joy. Your smile, your scent, your laugh, your presence. That might be why they respond faster when you call their name, and why they search immediately when someone else calls yours. And finally, if there is one sign that makes you say, "Okay, this is just weird," it might be their jealousy. A study with 24 dogs found that when their owner gave attention to another dog or person, these dogs would actively try to interrupt or reclaim that attention. If your dog has ever wedged themselves between you and someone you were hugging, or looked grumpy when you pet another dog, do not get upset. They are simply telling you in their own way, I don't want to share you. And believe it or not, that is one of the most honest, unfiltered, and absolutely adorable forms of love. A dog's love is not always loud. Sometimes it is just a glance, a gentle lean, or their quiet presence beside you for no particular reason. And if you start to notice those little things, maybe you will realize that you are already the one they love most in the world. If you found this video helpful, do not forget to like, share it with other dog lovers, and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss more heartwarming videos like this one. Now tell me in the comments, what is the sweetest or strangest thing your dog has ever done to show their love for you? I would truly love to hear your story.